So I left off right here, and I jumped off of this because a bell rang in the background, and a class started. But this is the point where I left off at. So the basic shape is done, and there was a line right here. And the purpose for this line is, if you look over at the drawing to my left or to your left, you can see that on the bottom, right around here, there's a point where it says there's an offset of 0.150. So we want to take care of that to get to this point. And that's going to allow us to get a hole located. Now, this is actually a construction line, so to keep track of things. And I'm going to try to build this thing in a way. So I'm going to do another offset because it doesn't tell me. I can see that the hole is coming off of the bottom of this, but I can't see by how much. And since there was no other dimension given, I have to assume that that offset is the same at 0.150. So at this point, I know that the hole should go right here. I told students that that it's not a bad idea to make a layer called holes, in that because there will be several of them. So in that case, what I'm going to do is come up here and go to layer properties, and my new layer is going to be called hole, and I'll make it in something. We'll just try this orange color and see how it works. And so at this point, this is where I want to come down and draw a circle, and the hole diameter is 0.125. So I'll go circle. It's a diameter of 0.125. Okay. This now right here is the question mark, and I had this question mark in class. I know that the hole in this case is adjacent to, I'm sorry, it's still 90 degrees relative to this line somewhere over here. And I can see that it's an extension of this line over here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a construction line somewhere here into space. And I'm also going to take this, and I'm trying to think of how I did this in class, because what I'm trying to locate is this circle along the way here. So how does that come into play right here? And it should be over in this direction, but I don't know. Now I got it. I take this line and I copy it. They didn't give me an offset. At this point, I do my offset of 0.150 again. And at the intersection of here and here is where I'm going to find that hole. In this case, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to place it right here. So all these lines are goners now. I don't need any of these. But for future layout stuff, it might be a good idea to go ahead and draw a line from a fixed point. So if I say, okay, if I need to ever change this or whatever, I can go ahead and keep these two holes connected on this line and this line. And then I can go ahead and, let's say I can lift this off of here. Okay. And that's exactly what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it off and move it out of the way so I can deal with extruding it. And then when I'm all said and done, I can take this template and I can place it from this endpoint right here right onto this endpoint, and I have my hole locations. Okay. The last thing I have to do is to create a side profile. Okay. In this case, I have a thickness, so it's telling me a material thickness of 0.065 and an overall width of 0.90. So this is where I'm going to have to do a little bit of math and say, okay, so I have, let's see, what was that again? 0.90 minus 0.065 minus 0.065. That leaves me 0.77. Okay. So why minus 0.065? Because that's the distance on both edges of this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a rectangle at a width of 0.077 and a height, as long as it's taller than this highest point over here, that's totally fine. So the height I can just drag over to whatever, whatever height I would like. Okay. And it's just got to be long enough that the thing can push through the entire object. Okay. So I'll try this. Oops, I'm sorry. That was not quite correct. I need to go ahead and say, okay, at 0.77, comma, and then that height, I'm just going to make it 3. This is what I was saying. As long as this part right here is taller than the highest point over here, then that's just going to be fine. Okay. Before I do anything with that, I would go ahead and fillet the top edges. And I think there was a note about fillets. Radius on all outside and inside angles is 0.05. So we'll go fillet radius 0.05. And I'm going to go ahead and grab those right there. The reason these are filleted is so it breaks the curve on the inside. And there was one fillet radius that was bigger. And I think that one was up here. I'll double check. So I'm going to do all fillet radii of 0.05. It did not show me that that was any bigger, but I might just make it bigger a tiny bit just for my own interest. So I'm going to make these 3 fillets just slightly bigger than 0.05. Actually, just these 2. Fillet radius 0.05. Okay. So if there's 3 things, the only 3 things that had to be accomplished right here, fillet the top of this, which is going to be a punch or a cookie cutter that's going to go through, fillet these, and then these holes were made on that pattern, and we'll move on in the next one to the 3D transformation aspect.